Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm really grateful that you really made it on time as we had agreed before. As you know that we are going to discuss about the cultural anthropology. But before we go any further, I would like we start by introducing ourselves. For me, I'm Kokoni Karoli. I'm a student from Kepler.
Me, I'm Sylvain Naituiki. I'm a student at Kepler as well.
Yeah, I'm Brian Ndali. I'm a student at Kepler.
That's interesting. So, for our discussion today, our main topics we are going to discuss is we are going to start with anthropological terminologies. I mean, the terms they use. I don't know. Before we go to talk about them, like the outline, is there anyone who has an idea of what anthropological terms are?
Those are the terminologies that anthropologists use in their studies.
Yeah.
But we have to first know what is anthropology. Anthropology is the study of people's culture and the way they live in a normal life.
Yeah.
So the terminologies, these are the terms or words people use while they are studying the different cultures.
So that's interesting, really. So we shall talk about the anthropological terms, as you say the terms they use when they are carrying out research. We shall also talk about the menus. Everyone here is going to talk about the menus he organized, and we shall also, after menus, we shall talk about the field research we made. I think understand everyone did the field research. Then after we are done with that, we are going also to compare and contrast the culture, the menu, the foods you conducted research on different cultures, the events to see what they have in common and what they have, the differences they have.
Yeah,
so, without wasting time, welcoming Sylvain to tell us some of the anthropological terms he knows.
Actually, there are many terminologies that anthropologists use. Let me start by what the terminology called encapsulation. By encapsulation is this process by which a person learns different culture from other cultures, like traditional content, religion, languages. That's all about encapsulation.
Let me ask: can anyone learn? Does it have age limit?
Yeah, I don't think there are age limit like languages. Whenever you reach in any cultures, you can learn and practice that languages. It doesn't matter the age.
I can also tell you another terminology. I think rituals. Rituals, these are customary practices which are done continuously by a particular culture. These things can, when someone sees the culture doing such things, we just get to know that this means this. Right? For example, in Rwandan culture, some of the rituals they do, for example, when someone has died, in Rwandan culture we usually spend a period of 7 days while mourning. Yeah, this is done continuously in different people, different clans, such that we as people we develop our culture.
Have also there is also another term called subculture. Subculture, it's having like a big culture. Then you have other small culture which all together make up a big culture. For example, we know in Rwanda we have Rwandan culture, but in this Rwandan culture we also have different cultures. For example, these people called the Abatwa. They have their dance. It is totally different from the traditional dance we know from Rwanda, but still it is not different. It's totally completely different, but they have some things in common. And when you come again in eastern Rwanda, there is another subculture called these ones who look after cattle. They are called I'm forgetting. They are called Bahima.
Yeah, they were
The Bahima.
Yeah.
The Bahima, for them, they specifically look for cattle, and they value most like meal. Even though they all value most, but in whole Rwanda, it is not the same. They don't value meal the same way. Yeah.
That's true.
Okay. Another terminology is ethnocentrism. By ethnocentrism is where people tend to vary one's culture superior than others, like saying that the Banyankore are dirty because they used to spite anyway. And also you can see that like Congolese used to eat while traveling in the roads. And you can say that Congolese are not polite because they used to eat everywhere in the road. Yeah, that's ethnocentrism.
Okay. So that being ethnocentric, does it mean that you make your culture more superior than others?
Yeah.
Does it become being biased?
I think it's like being biased. When you look at someone's culture and you undermine it, you are like opposing it. You just, I think, for me, what I thought about
Ethnocentrism.
is like when you see someone's culture, you don't just think that this thing they are doing is bad. What you have to do, just ask yourself, why are they doing this? Is it the way they do it in their culture? If yes, okay, let me tell them like this. So just in case, next time when you see someone doing so, you are not like it's a new thing or it's an awkward thing. Just get to know this person is from such and such culture.
Maybe without, there is another term. Actually, the way you have explained that, the way you wanted it is anthropologists call it cultural relativity.
Yeah.
So in cultural relativity, it is another term they use. It is comparing two or more cultures, but without being biased. So for this case, you look at, if you see something that in your culture you don't do in your culture. Here you take research and try to understand, why do we do this thing? Why is it like this? So that's what they call cultural relativity.
I have another terminology from anthropology, and it's called symbolism. Symbolism can be anything that signalizes something within a given culture. When we talk about signalizing, the example of signalizing, us in Rwanda, when we are greeting, you just catch your hand, right? So that's a sign of respect. So in this case, when someone saying that you are catching like the hand like this, he or she will just get to know that this is a sign of respect you have given someone.
So does it mean that if I do like this, or maybe I meet someone and then he does this, that person is telling me that that shows that that person is respected.
Another example of symbolism. In Rwanda, when someone dies, we usually get a dry bunch of tree. We set it on fire and put it aside. This shows that anytime someone passes by, he or she just get to know that in Brian's family also and so family, they have lost someone. So they will get to know and they will transfer the message that I have seen someone a family which has lost someone. So for that case, the community will come together and mourn with you.
That reminds me of one in Uganda. There is time when they drum like at night. When you hear people drumming, you just know that there is something wrong in that village. So people come together to see.
They use it as a sign of communication. Long time when the communication means are still difficult.
Yeah, actually, I try to infer that term of symbolism to the flag of our country. In our country there is a green color. That green color symbolizes prosperity of Rwanda. That's if you see the green color, you can see for Rwanda, they can explain it to you that it symbolizes prosperity.
Now that we are done with the cultural, the terminologies that anthropologists use, and you people, it's like you are now anthropologists. The way you explain the terms.
True that. We agree with that.
Okay. Now we are done with the terminologies. We are going to the next step, which is the explaining the menus that we did on, like the foods and events we try to research on, and let Brian take us through the menu.
Some of the menus
Yeah.
are going to be. Or with the menus I did, how I researched about were the tailgating party and the potluck ceremony. These two menus, or these two have something in common, is that all of them are ceremonies, are events. So let me start with talking about tailgating. Tailgating, this is an American culture where people usually move with their kitchens and go and park in front of the stadiums. Most of these stadiums are football stadiums. The purpose of this ceremony mostly is to develop the spirit of sharing, first of all. Secondly, to give value to the sports activities. Now, this ceremony, people usually park outside the stadiums and they cook. You find thousands of people parked outside with their cars. Behind their cars, they have grilling machines. They cook, they celebrate, they drink. So, mostly, the kinds of food these people eat, you find out that they're eating meat, they're eating some hamburgers, they're eating hot dogs. This is the fact that when you see these things, these kinds of food are the foods which someone can eat, can cook immediately when he or she is on a hurry. So, and another thing I can add on that, this ceremony, the reason as to why they are cooking, they are eating that way, they related this ceremony to the ancient occasion which used to take in America. It used to happen in the harvesting period. People used to also come together and share the food they harvested. So, you see, the purpose also of this event is people, or the ritual is grilling. People are grilling. When they are on this event, people usually, it is a sign of coming together of different parties. When you are fanning a particular team, I'm fanning a particular team, before even the match starts, we are going to come together, we eat, we chill, we dance if it's possible, and we are going to give our teams morale. When our teams they find out that we have been sharing, or we have been even eating with different team players, they are going to be happy. They are going to while playing the match, they are going to be playing with the morale. They are going to be strong, and the match is going to be good. Yeah. The value of this event is bringing two parties together. Like I told you, the culture of this event is celebrating on the football ball. So I think that's the little I have about that. That event. And when you see people having this party, it is a symbol of friendship. They are symbolizing friendship. These people are friendly because you can't be enemies, and you chill, you eat together. Yeah, I think that's the little bit I have about that. Unless I'm going to ask you some little questions about it. Now, what makes up a tailgating party?
This interesting question. Based on the lecture you've given us, I think what makes up this it's like it is a sports game where the two parties of two different parties which support the teams come together and they share food which they prepare, which they can, like when they come to the party, to the event, they come with their cars with some grilling machines in the boot, in their boots. They prepare this, they prepare food, they share together. So I think it's kind of joy.
To add on that, it's like when they are going to take, there are a match take place, there are fans, there are teams. So actually, it's made of foods where fans are going to share their meals before the game starts. So all about developing their friendship, even if there are some opponents between teams.
Yeah. Another question I can ask you, my friend. What are the values of this ceremony?
The values, I think, to me, the main value of this, it is uniting people and like sharing. As you know, you see, with different in games, we know that the two different parties which support two different clubs, they don't tend to agree on something. So this is tend to bring them together, to unite them together.
Yeah, again, since you've told us that it's often occur in the harvesting period. Yeah, for me, I understand that it's a culture of sharing what they harvest from their field.
What they have gained.
Yeah, from their gains, celebrating their parties and develop their unity and difference.
Yeah. Okay, can I proceed with the second?
I think I can first also talk about one of my the menus or the food I carried, because for me I had no food. I just prepared menu on food. So let me start with Japanese rice, because I have Japanese rice and oil of Hawaii, but I'm going to start with Japanese rice. Japanese rice, it is a short grain rice which is grown in Japan, and in Japan, it's not just considered as rice. It is just more than rice. Because people consider it as food. In their language, they call it gohan. So, which means it is food. So, if someone has no rice, that signifies that he has no food.
And cutting you short, what's the difference between this Japanese rice and the usual rice we eat?
Now, I think the difference, there's no difference, but only that it is grown from their land, and they grow it in groups. Like it is when they are cultivating it, they all go there together.
Okay.
So that collaboration they are using, that is what maybe differentiates it.
To add, like what I understand as a difference is that the difference is on the value that you give that rice.
Exactly. So, when they are like cultivating the same rice, they go there together as a group. They first cultivate land. When it is time for planting, they do it as a group. Even harvesting, it is the same thing. And if there is like shortage of water, irrigation is done community, all of them as a community. Everyone has to dig a channel which leads water to his what? Even if everyone has like a piece of land, they still do it together. If we are cultivating for Sylvia today, tomorrow it is you, then the next day. Like that, they do it sharing. So, as I told you before, there are rituals which are related to this rice. When they are like cultivating it, they go together. So they go together as they are going like that, and when it is harvesting, they still do it go together. And still another thing, it is like they prepare it. When they are preparing, they prepare it plain. They don't for us in this way. When they are preparing rice, you put some soup, but for them it is plain. And even when they are eating it, they use chopsticks. Is there anyone who knows chopsticks? For them they use chopsticks. It is their ritual.
How can you use chopstick while eating rice?
Yeah, it can be hard for you, but for them, a child grows up while learning how to use it. So by the time they get like any age, someone is it's like he has already learned what they grow up enculturing them. So, and also the values related to the values the Japanese give to this rice, it is that it unites them. Whenever they are going to grow it, they do it in a group. Whenever they are going to harvest it, they are like together. And related to their historical, there is time when there was like they had no water, and so the way they used to live, they could cultivate together, do everything together. Then they used to come and live in the same houses together. So this helped them to cooperate and also sharing, depending on each other. This is what they value most. And what rice signified in their culture, it is that it showed unity and dependency on each other. And besides that, rice also is considered as like a nutritious food which provides energy. I know in World War II, soldiers used to feed on this rice, and these people used to exchange, to use rice still for trade. So I could bring rice. If I want a clothes, you give me clothes. So that's what I had had for this, and I have some questions for you. Now, if you try to relate the way Japanese value their rice, which food which food in Rwanda, and how does it relate to the Rwandan culture, the way we value food in Rwanda?
Can you repeat that question?
I mean, we have seen the way Japanese value their food. How is it related to the way Rwandans value Rwandan culture? How we value like food, any food in Rwandan culture?
And remember, here in Rwanda, we value more beans. Because some people say that if you have no beans, you have no food.
They try to Rwandan meat.
Again they call it Rwandan meat. So I think from that, it's related to Japanese rice. As Rwandans value beans, when you eat meats, and it is the same as Japanese.
That's interesting.
In addition to that, Rwanda, when you see in Rwanda, you can find out that in different areas in Rwanda, they have their particular food. You go in Chibungo side, they have bananas. You go in Rwengeri, they have iris. However much those people harvest different kinds of food, but they meet on the same thing, that is beans. So he said a good answer. I think Rwandans value beans a lot.
That's great. Still, we try to relate these things like in Rwanda. Is there any activity that brings people together? Like people use when they are cultivating rice in Japan. Is there an activity that brings people together?
I can say it's like umuganda, community cleaning, whereby people from different parts they come, they clean a particular area which they see that started. This activity or this ceremony, this event happens monthly, every last Saturday of the month, and this thing has played a great role in the development of Rwanda.
Actually, there is another thing that brings one together, like celebrating National Heroes Day, Independence Day. All those events bring people together.
That is really interesting, and I think that's what I've seen that you have really understood this. I think Sylvie can also take a film.
Okay, thank you. Me too. I have learned about two different cultures. One is for do ritual in the Hindu weddings. Another one is Pennsylvania, Dutch cuisine. Let me start by food ritual in Hindu weddings. Do you like wedding?
Yeah, of course.
Hindu weddings take place under the canopy. That means outdoor, like outside. The ceremony is arranged in the way that the bride and the groom can see each other before the ceremony or before the party. Also during the ceremony, at the beginning there was a curtain to separate families of the bride and the groom. Where the ceremony is going to take part, there are different seats arranged in the way that people can sit. But even if there are seats, people can go to the nearest bar and take a treatment.
So let me ask. So does it mean that in the wedding they don't bring any beverage?
Yeah, they allow some, but since the nearest bar can go there and take.
Okay, so they tend to organize it in a place near drinking joints. Eh?
Yeah. Again, during the ceremonies, there are different food that they use, and those food have different rituals in their weddings, like coconut, rice, and cumin seeds. Coconut for them is a sign of divine offering or blessing for the marriage. Also, the cumin seeds, those seeds are crushed together with sugar, and that mixture symbolizes bitterness and sweetness for the bride and the groom. When people get married, they didn't know each other before, but you have to know that even if you are together, we're not going to stay in the good things. Like you are at the weddings, you are happy, people are enjoying your celebration.
They refer marriage to full of ups and downs.
Yeah. That's what symbolizes. Again, also there is lies. Lies for them symbolize sustenance of life. Guests are invited to throw lies to the bride and the groom, and also this is a sign of blessing. Again, the bride and the groom, one took the lies, throw to one another, and guests are there to see that event, and that symbolizes that the one who will throw more lies to another will be the one who will dominate in the relationship.
Well,
So
that is some kind of confusing.
yeah,
But if I'm afraid of beating a lot of rights around my wife, will she dominate me in the house set and my husband?
That's well, it is the common in their culture. So let me cut in now. Like if there is a lies, they know. Maybe you have seen others before doing that. You will try more lies, maybe so that you will be dominated. It's a culture. Yeah, that's good. Again, what they value is, I find that Hindu value institution of marriage, because those activities of ensuring that marriage is blessed, those coconuts for showing prosperity or wealth, married couple, showing that they value institution of marriage. Also, they value like prosperity, good relationship, and well-being of two different families from the bride or the groom. Yeah, I think that's all about food, religion, and Hindu weddings. But to check that you understand what I told you, I have a few questions for you. The first, they say that coconut is there to ensure that marriage is blessed. Also, cumin seed also is indicated that of sweetness and bitterness in the married couple. Yeah. So, from you, why do you think Hindu want their marriage to be blessed?
I think the reason why they want their marriage to be blessed is like giving them a go away. I mean, giving them permission to show that the elders have agreed us to do what? To marry. Which means anything we do, we are like officially allowed. Anything we do, it is known to everyone. And that will prevent like people like Brian to tamper with my wife because I'm officially married. So I think blessing gives them a go away, a go ahead to give them permission. Yeah.
That's it. Again, the second question. So you understand how the marriage is situated, structured. So what connection did you have?
The connection
Referring to how Rwandan weddings took place.
As in when you see in Rwandan weddings, weddings are usually okay. In Rwanda, we don't see things are in common related to Indian wedding. You can find out that in Rwanda they give out wines or local wine, But for Indians, they give coconuts.
Okay,
So,
so
when it comes to foods, in Rwanda, they usually, while blessing the family or praying for the married couple, wishes, like they give them the milk, and they sit together, they share milk with the two young children, a boy and a girl. So this shows that this family is going to be blessed. They are going to produce kids. So that, I think that's the relationship. However much is kind of different, but that's it.
That's interesting.
and there's also an addition. There is they tend to give them like fruits. They bring a basket of these different fruits. This also signifies that the marriage has been done what? Blessed, like those ones in what? In the Hindu marriage. Yeah.
That's it. Again, you see here in Rwanda, often the married couple go to the pastor in the mosque or mosque there are Muslim. Let's say pastor there are Sheikh. But in the church like Catholic or Protestant, there are pastors. Those are there to
bless the
marriage. Yeah, that's also an interesting thing that they do here in Rwanda. I think that's it for Hindu weddings and their rituals and their food. So I think you can now continue to take us where we're going to continue our discussion.
Yeah, I think I have also, as I told you, that I had done a research on two things. I also did research on the food called poi. Poi of Hawaii. Actually, it is a food which is which is originated from Hawaii and is also popularly known from Hawaii. Poi, it is a food which is produced out of marrow roots. I mean taro roots, not marrow. So it's like they pound it. When they harvest these roots, they pound them to prepare them. So in the process of preparing it, it has some rituals related to it. So like the process of preparing, which is known as the queuing in Hawaiian language, which means like process of preparing, it has some rituals tied with it. Like for a girl or any woman, when she's going to prepare it, she has to tie her hair. So the reason behind tying the hair, it is to preventing contaminating the food. They don't want when you are enjoying your delicious food, then you get hair. So they don't want to do that. They also any person who has long nails is not allowed to prepare it, because in when you have long nails, some germs can do what? Enter. Still, if you have some cuts in your hands, you are not allowed to prepare it. So another thing is when they are harvesting, still they go in a group. They do it in a group, and it is sent whenever. And also when it is served, it brings families together.
It is kind of related to Japanese. Because also them.
It's also related to Japanese, because when you see the main value of it is to bring people together.
Yeah.
That is what they wanted. Actually, they are main. And also, they when they are preparing it, they put on clothes called maro. Maro, it is like a kind of clothes which covers all the private parts. So when you are pounding this, it tends to do when you are pound like this, tend to darken your clothes. So for them, they simplified it. So they just put on to cover the private parts, because you cannot be preparing it in public when you are naked. So they just cover the private part. Then there are also some values related to it. Hawaiians value most unity, and whenever when poi is served, people come together to share it. It brings families together. So when they come together, they are it shows unity. It symbolizes unity. So that's why they value it most. It's also their own food. most of the foods the food which is eaten in Hawaii is imported from other countries. So the reason why they value most poi, it is therefore the only food they get from their own land. So another thing it is like, poi is delicious and rich in nutrients. It is fat free, and it is also recommended. The doctors recommend people to eat it. So they value their health.
Yeah.
So that is why they do what they eat it. So I know now that I've told you what poi is all about, and I don't know, I want to know to see whether maybe you understood it. So I have some two questions. And why do you think Hawaiians encourage people to eat poi?
Like as you say that Hawaii contain protein, vitamins. After understanding that, I like that it is a nutritious food. And also say that doctors recommend people to take that Hawaiian poi. Yeah, like the reason that Hawaii took that food is that they want to be healthy. They want to have their life where they want their child to have better life.
What I can add on that is that they have to value this poi because it is their cultural food. When they are eating this kind of food, they feel that they are increasing or they are developing their culture.
Okay, that's interesting. Now, my second question is that depending on how they eat poi, what do you think they value most?
Depending on how they are eating.
Yeah. What do you think they value most? They give value.
From my understanding, I think they value health, because they want to take that kind of food that is nutritious or healthy. So from that, I can say that they value health and unity, because when they are going to take that meal, they come together and share their Hawaii poi food.
When they are, as you say that they go in groups, they are eating in groups. So when people are preparing this, they are going to value the presence of their different societies or different people. So they will value other people, they will value the unity, and they will also value their culture of eating the culture food.
Oh, that's interesting. Actually, it's like you people did research. It is like you went and researched all these things.
Yeah, but I have one question that confused me. You say that they like Hawaii poi food because it comes from their own land.
Yeah.
So from that, I'm wondering, is there any other place that you can find Hawaiian poi food?
No, already it is poi of Hawaii. That's the name, which means it is from Hawaii. Yeah. So it is partially from there. And Hawaii, it is an island. So it is not all that big. So the food which is grown there cannot sustain people. So they tend to import food from different countries. So the small piece of land, the remaining is where they grow this what? They grow taro. So from which they do what they get this food. Yeah.
And since I think Hawaii is an island, so you may find that this particular plants will grow only on this area. So that's why it's very difficult to find it in the other areas.
Yeah. And even as I told you before, that doctors have started to encourage people to eat this. So the government has started to encourage people to continue growing it, because they have seen that they are going to start to make money. So it's like going with time, it's going to become a business. So which will allow people to make some money to earn their living.
As I told you that I had a package of 2 things or 2 menus. This is my second package. The package I'm going to introduce to you guys is a potluck. As I told you, my things are not on the side of food, Mine are just events, cultural events.
Yeah, events.
Yeah. So this potluck event or ceremony or occasion, it was held or it used to take place in northwestern parts of America. Yeah. These places used to be people who used to be there are Native Americans. And Native Americans, when I talk about Native Americans, currently these are the people whom we know as Red Indians. Before the Europeans colonized America, these are the people who used to settle in this land. Now, let's proceed with this kind of ceremony. A potluck ceremony, it used to signify when you signify like a particular family had a particular event, like a newborn baby. They are going to celebrate a newborn baby. Like they are going to a boy is going to marry. These are the ceremonies. Kind of these ceremonies used to take place in these areas. And this event, they used to, since these people used to set on the coasts, they used to eat just fish and seal meat. This particular kind of food they used to get them from the water. So the host used to organize this ceremony, and they gave a lot of food to the guests. This particular event it used to involve only feasting and gifting. That's to say, people were you are welcomed or when you get to know that in so and so's family they are going to organize a potluck. At that time, you had to get ready to eat. It was called eating. We all, for people who did well in that society, they are expecting to get gifts. Yeah, because the potluck, the host used to give gifts to some guests who did well in a particular society.
So does it mean that someone who wants a gift can prepare potluck?
No, it's not the one who's going to. The host is not the one who's going to be gifted. The host is the one who's going to give gifts to his guests. Yeah. So, this occasion, mostly people who used to organize this occasion were rich people. Poor people used to engage in this occasion literally in few cases whereby someone has killed or has hunted a whale, and when they kill a whale, this was going to be a ceremony for a poor person. They are going to call upon every person in the society. They kill, they cook the meat, they give out the meat. People used to eat and eat and eat, and they take food back home to those people who couldn't manage to go to the potluck ceremony. And people used to even get ill. You find someone complaining that I had too much to the extent that I'm sick. Yeah.
So that reminds me of this. There is this Islamic period when they like slaughter animals and prepare food and they give to the poor. I see there is a relationship there. Is it called Ramadan or
Particularly
Eid al-Fitr? Oh yeah, that is it. So it is like related because during Eid al-Fitr, when that time for Eid al-Fitr comes, they slaughter and give the poor people. They eat.
When I continue, so the value of this ceremony, it was developing the spirit of sharing or encouraging come together, unity of the people. Since we are going to sit in the same place, we share the same food, and we become happy. Some are going to receive gifts. This will make the friendship a big core. It will make people feel one. During this occasion, the host had this opportunity to show off his richness, to tell them that in this year I managed to buy a particular land, I managed to do this, my level of wealthness increased from this to this. Yeah. the host had to explain to the rest of the people what he had. And another thing is that people used to compete. Yeah. When, like, for example, last year, Sylvain organized a potluck, and people ate for like 2 days. For me, I'm going to outcompete him. Like, I serve people for 4 days. Right?
Yeah, it's really.
When I manage to do that, I'm going to get a dignity. I'm going to gain popularity from the society. Brian was able to serve people that much wrong, and even the respect from the society, they are going to grant me ranks which I didn't have before. Yeah, that's they used to call it a big potluck. Yeah.
So it sounds like big, really potluck.
Yeah. I think that's what I heard about the potluck event. I can also, okay, let me ask you few questions. Based on what I've taught you or the lecture I've given you about the potluck, what do you think these people value most?
Maybe I think you see this potluck is like showing off wealth, and I think these people value wealth because it's like and wealth and give it back to the society. So if like someone organizes potluck, it's like he wants to show the public that, look, I'm also I'm no longer on the level I was. I'm now at the certain level. I've improved on my status. Besides that, he also wants like to give back to the society, the people he's living with. Like, come here, look, I've got enough wealth. We can share this wealth with you. So I think they value wealth and giving back to the society.
Again, from me also, I can say that they value like social status, because if I'm the one hosting workshops and see that I host it for 2 days, and I knew before that there is the one who hosts it for 4 days. So the one who hosts for 4 days, I think they will say that he's a big boss, he's big rating. But the reason I say that they value social status because once you have more, you show that you have it. So
Give it up.
you can give it out. And
They also value unity.
Unity, and sharing, so that even if you have more, you share it with others.
That gives me the impression that even though they used to compete, their competition was in a positive way. Not the other one of like, oh, you are better than me. I've not come to know. That was not the case.
Another thing I can ask, is there any way we can compare a potluck event or occasion to our culture, running culture?
Okay, I think, for the way the comparison I think I can make, it's like giving back to people, the society. And in Rwanda, this time, they organize like parties to help these people who are like the poor, the disabled. So this time they organize those parties just to help the disabled. So I think there's a relationship, even though the difference may be the other one is to show up the status, but this one is meant to help people.
Yeah, for me, what I can say is like the Guhimba stuff, since sometimes they organize this event when they are celebrating for the newborn babies. Yeah, even in Rwanda, when the time for Guhimba has come, people used to serve and give back to the others. Yeah, they celebrate. I think that can also be another.
Again, in ceremonies, you can see there are different people that are invited to participate in the parties. I can see one people stand up and say, I give this man 2 cars. This gives
showing off.
Showing off that.
And people who have are the ones who give. Even though that's how people think, but sometimes it depends on.
Based on what you have discussed about potluck, let me transfer the microphone to my friend Sylvain and tell us what he has for us.
Thank you, Mr. Brian. As I said to you before, I had 2 cultures that I learned. The second is Pennsylvania that I'm going to take you through. This Pennsylvania Dutch cuisine. It is a culture of people who come from German and Switzerland in 17th and 18th centuries. Those people come to settle in southern, east, and south central of Pennsylvania. In these immigrants in Pennsylvania, there are different kind of peoples. There are the ones called Lutherans, Anabaptists, and Mennonites. These peoples have different level of wealth. There are poor and rich. Like there are different food that they took. And poor immigrants often took food which are gumbis, wild asparagus, and also there are berries, huckberries. Those are food that are often eaten by poor immigrants. These foods, as you see, they are cooked in different ways. Like gumbis is cooked under the stove. Yeah, they use stove while cooking gumbis. When people are eating these gumbis, and as a ritual associated with gumbis, is that when people are going to eat this food, they gather around the pot. Like you see, the way we are sitting here, you can bring the pot and put in this side, and then start to eat. And they use their hands.
Yeah?
They use their hands. Yeah.
So, you see there is a difference between
Yeah.
them and the Japanese. For
Yeah.
them, they use chopping
They use
sticks.
chopping sticks.
So,
Yeah.
for them, their ritual is to use hand.
They use their hand. They wash their hand and then put food in their pot. Yeah, that's the way they eat from this. Also, the way people get huckberries show how they are creative. They reach in Pennsylvania. They don't think that they are going to beg food from other people's, but their creative mind direct them to go to find some berries in the place where they can find it, like forest, to get berries. This shows how they are creative. Also, the culture of sharing this beer while sitting around the pot show how they value unity and sharing what they have. Yeah. Again, there's people. For me, I understand that they have critical thinking. You know, live in a new country and try to find the means that you're going to get food without paying for it. This shows critical thinking. To sum up, as conclusion from my Pennsylvania Dutch cuisine, you can see that these people vary, culture of love, sharing, unity, and show very creativity. Yeah, that's all about Pennsylvania Dutch cuisine. To check if you understand what I told to you. So before asking you a question, is there any lingering question from you?
As you told us that the gumbas and akibaras are the foods for poor people. What are those for rich people?
Actually, rich people eat seared meat. They can also eat gumbis, seared meat. Yeah,
What does
meat.
it?
Like there are those meats that are cooked on the stove, like brochette. Yeah, brochette. Yeah. Again, they can also use gumbis, but you know, there at some extent, rich people eat food that can also be eaten by poor.
Of course, it's possible only that it is because they have money, they can afford what the poor cannot.
That's true. From you, after understanding Pennsylvania Dutch cuisine, so what do you think is the relationship between Pennsylvania Dutch cuisine and culture of Rwanda?
Yeah. You made me remember when back in the days when the Bahima or the Wakonyi of Rwanda came, they came with only their cattle.
Yeah.
They never knew how to cook, how to do what, as they depended on the cattle. But when they used to reach in the places where there is food. They used to get posho, maize flour, and they add it with milk, or millet flour. They cook it with milk, and they make their food. That also we can call it the critical thinking. Because they used to be in certain places where there is sun, they knew that we cannot find water here nearby. What we have to do, we have to use the little we have, and we get something to eat. So they had to mix milk with maize flour or millet flour, and they eat.
Yeah. Still, there is what they call in Rwanda ugali.
Yeah.
So when you talk to for them, they eat using hands. And we know in the Rwandan culture, for you to enjoy to eat ugali, which is a millet.
What is ugali?
Millet.
It's also called the cassava bread.
The cassava bread, yeah. For you to enjoy it, you have to use your hand.
Yeah.
That's when they actually in Rwandan culture they believe that when you use hand, that's when you enjoy, you feel the real sweetness of the food.
But I think that's the ritual associated with Pennsylvania. That reason, like convinced to eat using hands. Some people use forks, are like sticks for Japanese. So this is a ritual for them. I think that's it for Pennsylvania.
As I told you that we are supposed to talk about our field research, and now since we are done with our menus, I'm going to start with my field research. I carried on field research on food called ishabwe. Ishabwe, it is a food which is made out of butter, and it is mainly eaten in eastern Rwanda by the clan called, the culture called Bahima. Yeah, Bahima is a subculture, sub Rwandan culture. As you know, we have very many subcultures in Rwanda, and ishabwe is made out of butter which has been stored for a long period of time. Mostly starts from 1.5 months for it to be ready to be used, and it is mostly served in wedding ceremonies. So, how do they prepare this ishabwe? Now, when I went to carry out my field research, I found when they were going, because I had communicated to them earlier, I went there in the evening. So the way they prepared it, this lady got a saucepan and clean water. Then she got a piece of wood. She tied sisal on it. Then she stirred. She put butter in the saucepan. Then she started stirring. She continued stirring up the time when the butter started turning whitish to look like milk, but for it was somehow sticky, not like really milk, because milk is not thick all that thick. So after it turned, she then added a little water and the reason why I asked her, she was telling me that the way it is sticky, they add water to make it, to dilute it. When you don't dilute it, it can be, because it is too sweet. So actually, it is delicious. So when they don't dilute, they cannot get enough of it to serve the family. So, and actually, it was around 8 to 9 minutes to prepare it. And after it was prepared, it was of course ready to be eaten. So she served the children and they ate it. But after I carried out the interview with the husband to tell me, because I wanted to know how they came up with this like the habit of eating it and tradition. So the husband told me that this one was actually, it is a tradition when, like, Rwanda, with the history of Rwanda, they moved away to the neighboring countries. So where they settled in a place called Mbarara, which is western Uganda, it is where they learned this tradition of eating the ishabwe. So they learned this because they were looking after cattle. That was their main source of food. So when they reached there, they found people could eat, they could prepare ishabwe. So they also encultured encultured to how they prepare and eating it. So that's how they continued. And they also they were influenced to use it in marriage ceremonies, where they use it to show blessing. So they consider butter ishabwe as a blessing and also respect. So that means if ishabwe is served to a person, it shows that you have been honored in that family. And besides, on the wedding, they consider the in-laws, they consider them as people they honor, they respect. So whenever it is served to them, it shows that the family of the both families have honored what the opposite sides. So this ishabi, it's also considered as a delicious food. And this one I learned it from the family where I carried out the research, because when I asked them, the husband told me that it is delicious and keeps their children healthy. Yeah. And I don't know if anyone has a question to understand related to what to.
So what's the difference between ghee and butter?
Ghee, it is a modernized one. Ghee, it is like it has passed through like industrial product. They take butter and they mix with some substances to make up ghee. But with butter, it is a fresh one which is made from milk. So for it, there is nothing added, like any substance added in it.
I don't have a question, but it's something that interests me from your field research. You say that Isabwe, when it's offered to someone, also it's kind of showing blessing. And this directing to the weddings from Hindu, where they use coconut. For Uganda they use Isabwe, but for Hindu they use coconut. So all to mean blessing.
That's blessing and respect.
Thank you, Kalori, for telling us about the field research. Me too, I heard up a field research. My field research was all about Ijikoma.
Porridge.
Porridge in English. And this Ijikoma was made out of millet flour plus mixed with water. It was on Friday when I went for my field research. It was in the morning. I went to particularly, she was called Mutesi. I asked her about more information about the Jukoma or porridge, millet porridge. She told me that this porridge, in the back in the days when they were in the days, it was like the drink for women. So mostly the women who have produced babies. The purpose of this porridge, it was to add more breastfeeding milk to the mother of the baby. So this porridge was something which was taken mostly by ladies and children. In the culture of Rwanda, men didn't take this porridge. Their drinks were local wines, the chigadi stuff. So they had to leave porridge for women and children. But even these days, the Goma or porridge is drunk by people. It's no longer only for purposely for ladies who have produced but even men these days are drinking porridge, children, and they even these days add some milk in it such that it becomes more sweeter, as Motis explained to me. Something else I can tell you about it is in order to prepare this kind of food, it does not take a lot of time. Just cook water. After cooking water, when water is ready, you get porridge, millet flour or maize flour. You add some cordura in it so that it will not be a bread. After there, you add in the hot water. You stir around such that it does not catch itself. So in like 3 to 5 minutes, it will be ready. For those who want to add in more milk, you can add in after 2 minutes, such that it becomes ready. I think that's what I learned about this food, and its value is to I think the reason as why they prepare this is to add more breast milk in the mothers. They used it too, but these days it is nutritious. People it contains a lot of carbohydrates, so people enjoy it.
Thank you, Mr. Brian. That's interesting. Me too, I had an interesting interview with research. I did it on Saturday. I visited the family of Bill and Julie. Just my field research was about the food called ugari. In English, it's cassava bread. Just I went to the kitchen. The mom was boiling water. I stand there and it took like 30 minutes to boil water, and the mom brought the flour and pour it in the water. So he started to mix using what? It's like a piece of wood.
Stirring.
Mingling. He mixed flour. Just after mixing that flour, it took like 5 minutes, and just after that they had a meal ready. Like it's a hard part, like a part. Let's call it a part. After that, I interviewed that woman called Julie and her husband in the dining room. Just I had a good conversation asking them, why do you cook this meal? Since the husband is a carpenter, he told me that they used to cook this cassava bread because it is energetic food. As a carpenter, he needs to take energetic food. That's why they cook that meal. Also, from different conversations that I had, where they told me that in the past time or ancient time, they used to cook meal from ugari or sorghum flour, and this food was kind of food that they need to take before going to till their land. Just from that understanding, I realized that these people vary works or house activities. Because saying that before going to till our land, we need to take some energetic food. This shows me that they vary house activities or activities that are going to help them get food for the family. Also, they add saying that this food was served during weddings. Like they bring a pot on a plate where the married couple cut the meal using a knife and break it in small pieces and God served to all people in the wedding.
So, let me ask you that.
Yeah.
So, they used to bring, in the ancient days, they used to bring military bread.
Yeah.
So, nowadays, I think that's where innovation came to bring the cakes.
The cakes,
Wedding cakes. So,
It acted as a cake.
It's a cake. In that time, it was like a cake. And the same to all people who are invited. That's the thing that I liked. They showed them that they invite the culture from traditional Rwandans, and also it remember them how marriage of today took place. When they see that beautiful cake in the marriage, they remember that in the past we used to use this meal. So it's a good thing for them. I think from my field research, it's about ugari or cassava bread. It varies types of household activities like love, sharing. Because when I was in the family, the dad, even if he was not in the kitchen, he was the one bringing water to add in the flour. So this showed me how they share activities in the house. They vary that their kids get careful by trying them in energetic food. So I liked the ugari, and those I used to take it. That's all about my favorites.
But there's where you say time, such as, I don't know. What did it depend? Did it depend on the number of people they are preparing it for, or what for? To take 30 minutes when they
to boil like 2 liters of water and boiling like 30 liters of water can take the same time. It depends on the number of food that will be served to people or the quantity of flour that will be used. Like for them, they were using 1.5 kilogram. It was not much water to boil. That's why it took 2 times.
Okay, that's interesting. Now that I think we are done with our field research, and I see this is really very interesting, we are living in the same, one culture, Rwandan culture, but with different, you can see we have different subcultures where they value things differently, but when it is one Rwandan culture. So, now that we have, in our discussion, we talked of terminologies as we used in different research by the anthropologists. We have also talked about the menus and field research. Now, I think it is time we are going to compare and contrast to see what they have in common and what is done differently in all those
those cultures.
Yeah.
So what can we begin with?
I think we can start with the similarities.
Yes.
We can compare to see what they have in common. And I don't know, Brian, what do you think they have in common?
When I see that most of these things which we have been talking about, in the cultural way, they used to be like the source of unity among people in culture. When you look at the Japanese boy, the Pennsylvania, Hawaiian boy, and you do look at the events, the tailgating, the potlatch, all of them, they line into one basket of bringing people together. That's what I think. And we talk about, when we look on our field research as well, for the one he talked about, Ishawe also was bringing people together and they share. The Jikoma of mine, people used to come and share as well. You see, because if someone has produced, people are going to come, bring their porridge, millet flour, they cook and they drink and they enjoy. Or when someone has given you that milk flour, it shows that we are united. We have to share, right? And the regard of yours, it is all of them, they fall into one basket.
Yeah, that's the thing. Me too. What I can see as commonalities or similarities is that, you see, in each culture there is kind of food that are being used. Like each food has a significant value in each culture. Like coconut to symbolize prosperity, or
like
gumbis,
greeting,
greeting from the supply, showing that respect. Every kind of activities done symbolize something in each culture.
Actually, this discussion was really interesting, but now that we are done with this discussion about the menus, the field researches, and anthropological terms, I think it's better we plan on how we are going to write our report. So I think, I don't know, Sylvia, can you tell me on the things we need to work on and how we can, the way you think we can work on them?
Okay, looking on the rubric from CFA, I can see that you have to include like 6 components in our report. So now we are done with our menus. Everyone has his own menu, his field research. So we need to take time to combine all of them in the report. Also, I think also we need to set time to proofread our documents. For grammar. Also, we need to take time to see when are we going to submit this. Also find a place where we need to do our report. So plan. Where do you think we plan to?
I think, based on the question you asked me, where we think that we will be having a good environment to make our work complete. I think we can come back here by on Monday, and it's when we will proofread. It's when we will combine all the information we have. We combine them all together. I think on Tuesday and Wednesday we'll come back and proofread our work. By next Sunday, it's when I think we'll submit the work.
Okay. So that means if we come back to Monday, then we have to combine information. Then after, I think everyone is going to work on what you actually, and the field research, menus and the thesis that we did. We'll write them, then we shall just come here with the information ready.
Yeah.
Then we shall combine it together. Then proofreading when? You take the money?
I think on Tuesday and Wednesday.
On Tuesday and Wednesday.
We get time to proofread.
Then when are we going to submit?
I think we will be finalizing by the end Friday, Saturdays. On Sundays when we will be submitting our.
Okay.
So
why don't we? You talked of submitting on Sunday.
Yeah.
Why don't we meet on Saturday or Friday
To do what?
to submit?
We meet on plan. We finalize everything on Friday and Saturday.
Maybe are you going to be there or you are not?
on Saturday, I think I'm sure that I'll be available at afternoon.
In the afternoon. So can we make it on Saturday afternoon? I won't be there. So I think it is better we put it on Sunday.
Yeah, let's put it on Sunday. Yeah.
Okay.
So to remember you, we agreed that we're going to have our report, combine all our findings on Monday. Tuesday and Wednesday is the time when we are going to proofread our documents, and also Sunday is the way where we are planning to submit our deliverables. That's it for our plan.
So another thing we need to keep in mind, we need to reserve internet, because we shall need internet to submit our work. So we need to prepare. When we come to meet here, we need to have internet.
Yeah.
It's okay. So thank you very much for the time and the conversation. As I told you before, I really enjoyed it. I don't know how you people felt in this discussion, but for me it has
been interesting. Although we spent a lot of time, but it has been interesting. We learned much. Most of us we didn't know some different cultures, but I think we learned. And this has been a very interesting project. Hope we can get another one like this next time.
Okay.
Me too, I've been interested in this project. It's the first time for me to hear about anthropology. I was wondering what is anthropology, but now since I learned that it's all about learning culture from different people, and also act as an anthropologist.
You are practicing it. Yeah,
that's good.
It.
So it's good.
So thank you very much. I hope we shall meet again when you are coming.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.